legit thing. You can't deny that. That's
He's
legit.
Yeah, he ran a fucking marathon.
He's got the Mickey Mantle gene. He really has it. Although he died at
The
62.
guy has a drive. This is the point, is the guy has a drive that belies his habits.
Yes.
It's weird. Like, his habits are insane. Like, you just want to, how do you have any energy to do anything? You eat shit, you drink vodka all day, you're out of your fucking mind.
That's amazing. I'm 10 years, 12, 20, whatever years younger than him. I would be hungover. I couldn't move. And he would be on the elliptical with a Bud Light.
He's on the elliptical drinking wine. He gets vitamin IVs.
Yeah.
And he keeps going.
Keeps going.
That's a legit music festival.
Yeah.
For a comedy show now.
Wait till you see it.
How many hours is this show?
Yeah, how many
The
hours
show's
is it?
long, dude. But
The intermission? You have an intermission.
so you got a half hour.
That's what the Brits
That
do.
means you hang out all day. That means he's just putting on a day of entertainment.
Hell
That's
yeah.
a great
Hold on.
idea.
Let me
Half
say
hour
this.
Come out here for a day.
So is it like, what's the total amount of time that people are performing?
Hold on, let me say this. It's the party of the summer.
Yep.
Guys, he just tried to high five you and you just
Guys,
didn't even.
oh, hold on.
What the
You really can't
first
respect.
time?
Fully
What the
loaded.
first time?
Fully loaded?
Yeah.
The fully loaded tour?
Are you in
It's
promotion
the-
mode?
it's the
This is
party.
Shane Gillis
It's the
promotion mode.
party of the summer. Who the fuck would have thought?
There's
You
the
know?
clip.
Clip it. Now I'm done, dude. I don't give a fuck. Yo, that tour stinks, dude. I
It's a great idea. What a great idea.
Yeah.
I'll throw you in the middle of it.
It's the party, guys. It's the party of the summer. Whoa! Another beer?
Oh, come on, Bristol. Sell this shit out.
Look at this. They're at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena.
Yeah, the Bon Secours is gonna be lit, dude.
Thunder Valley Amphitheater.
We got Brian
Cool
Simpson
Ray
coming.
Field.
We need a black on that tour. It's getting a little white.
Simpson's fucking hilarious.
I love
I'm with
Simpson.
Simpson July 1st at the MGM.
That's a funny black.
Yeah.
Jesus
I
Christ.
mean, a funny guy.
We do some time.
He's
Easy,
killer.
Joey Coco
Jesus
Diaz in
Christ.
Bristol, Tennessee.
He did my Coco. He did my Quick Week.
Yo, I did.
Oh, yeah.
I did those Atlantic City shows, and Joey on the first night, like you could tell, like he hadn't been in front of that many people for that long. Like it'd been a long time. On the second night, he came out guns blazing. I told him, I go, do whatever you want to do. I go, you want to do a minute, do a minute. You want to do a half hour, do a half hour. Just do whatever you want to do. I go,
Jesus.
we'll be ready. He did 7 minutes of fucking red-faced murder. Red-faced murder. Just fucking screaming. He was bright purple on stage, spitting. Killing.
I've never seen it.
Minutes?
Killing.
I've never seen him live.
I
Oh
saw
my
him
God.
at the
You gotta
bedroom
see him.
once.
I can't
It
wait.
was
Well,
wild. It was fucking awesome.
I'm gonna be on a tour with him.
Where did you see him?
Oh, that's
I
right.
can't wait. I've never seen him.
He's a fucking animal, man. He's a fucking animal.
Oh, he's not there
Fucking
yet?
ass was out.
Yeah, his ass was hanging out right before he goes on stage.
Ah.
There's me behind him filming him. His ass is completely hanging out.
That's for your show?
Motherfuckers. Yeah, that was in Atlantic City.
Literally, 7 comics were just like, all they could do in their life was to get him back on stage.
Yeah. Well,
Really?
we got him
Yeah.
back. We got him back. And we also got him back where he realized, like, we've been working. You know, we're all, like, everyone's tight. Hans Kim is tight. That kid is a fucking killer.
Really?
Hans Kim is a fucking killer. I don't want to tell you his bits.
Yeah,
Dude,
I'm
I'm telling you that.
Ruin it all.
I'll tell you afterwards. You're gonna cry. I don't want to fuck them up, but he's a
You look
killer.
at Tony last time with us.
And you know, Tony's on fire right now.
Tony's a beast.
He's
Tony
on
kills.
fire.
Yeah,
So we're all on the show together. So it's a high pressure show.
I saw you and Tony at the Ryman. That must have been
Oh, that was fun.
whatever. When I met you, I don't know what year that was,
I
but
think I was 16. Or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was
16.
running around Nashville. I was, let me pop it on this show, and you guys ripped it.
That was a fun place. That was a fun hang too, right? Like those late night talk till 3 a.m. hangs.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, that was a good fest.
That's what, as a comic, like those fun hangs after a show where you're just hanging out and just talking shit. Because you don't have anywhere to go.
I can't
Yeah,
leave those.
yeah,
I'll
like
stay
a
till 5
fucking
in the morning.
Noon flight the next
Yes,
day.
exactly.
So just chill out.
You can't
Yeah.
leave.
Talk
It's
shit.
such a good combo. Ari's
Sit
faded.
on the couch.
Ari's on the planet.
Time.
The weed, the booze, and the liquor.
We got a tomahawk here. This is a
Hell yeah.
this is off the rails. No, this isn't a throwing one. This is from the Terminal List, that new Amazon series. This is Jack Carr tomahawk.
Uh-oh.
The Chris
Carjacked.
Hey, that wasn't bad. That's something.
That's pretty good.
I was looking for
That's
it.
pretty good. Did you see that video of that guy that jumps out of his...
Meet Miles Canary. He's the owner of Gurney's. They're a seed company, and they've been selling exclusive varieties since
Machine Gunners, Part 2. In Part 1, we talked about the M249 saw. Today, we're talking about the M240. If you served in the mid-1900s and you don't know what the M240 is, it is what replaced the M60, a.k.a. the Pig. While it may not have the nickname the Pig, it's actually heavier, weighing in at 27 pounds. It has a cyclic firing rate of 650 rounds per minute, with a maximum range of approximately 3,700 meters and an effective range of up to 1,600 meters. I have absolutely no idea how far that is, so let's figure it out. All right, so we're looking at like 4,000-ish yards, so we're talking like 40 football fields. And we're talking real football, the kind you play with your hands. Don't try to tell me soccer's better. You were given opposable thumbs for a reason. F and act like it. Sorry, in order to make money on these videos, I'm not allowed to say fuck. Shit. We'll try harder next week. Anyways, back to the 240. 240 is highly versatile and can be attached to almost any military vehicle available, including boats and helicopters. But today we're talking about the psychopaths, I mean grunts that just carry this thing around. You see, the big difference between the saw and the 240 is that the saw shoots a 5.56 and the 240 shoots a 7.62. A bigger bullet means a bigger hole, and a bigger hole means less bad guys. That's just science. But being able to shoot the big Freedom Acorns comes at a cost, mainly weight. That's why, unlike the saw gunner, the 240 gunner has what is known as an AG, an assistant gunner. The assistant gunner helps share the load by carrying some of the bullets as well as the tripod and the spare barrels. Yes, I said spare barrels. They will literally throw so much lead at you that they will overheat the barrels to the point that they will warp and fold over. Or they will rotate the barrels out during the middle of a firefight, and sometimes use them to light their cigarettes. Now, while the AG is also a qualified machine gunner, he helps during the firefight by assisting with reloading and spotting for the machine gunner. Yeah, spotting. You notice that this picture looks an awful lot like this picture of snipers, aka Bill Nye the Science Grunt. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to tell you the 240 gunners are just volume snipers. But unlike a sniper who's just going to put one round center mass, this guy's going to put a lot of rounds to the everywhere. It's like a sniper from Costco. You're going to get ventilated in bulk. You're going to be aerodynamic as fuck. You're going to be holier than the Pope. Your death certificate's going to say bullet bukake. I might have found the line on that one. You can't be offended by that unless you know what it means, and if you know what it means, you're just as corrupt as I am. Moving on. There's absolutely no denying that being a machine gunner sucks 99% of the time. That's why the machine gunner's always in a bad mood. This man is literally fueled by nicotine, caffeine, and hate. But when that firefight finally comes around, this guy's Beetlejuice, and it's fucking showtime. That is unless you somehow put him in a bad mood in the firefight, which we all know there's only one way to do that, and it's by shooting at Doc. And if that happens, you're absolutely done. There's nothing you can hide behind on the planet. Whatever you're hiding behind, there is a certain amount of 7.62 rounds that will penetrate it eventually. This guy's gonna turn into the Tootsie Pop owl and find out how many licks it takes. In conclusion, never give a 240 gunner a reason to do his job, or he's gonna find out how many 7.62 rounds it takes to get to the Tootsie Roll center of you. If you enjoy my content and would like to support it, you can head over to thefatelectrician.com where you can buy yourself a shirt or some stickers. So until next time, quiet bang out. Today we're talking about America's greatest feat of engineering. Quite possibly the coolest fucking thing the Air Force has to offer. A weapon that is so iconic, even my 7-month-old child knows what it sounds like. Ladies and gentlemen, the motherfucking A-10 Warthog. Now, if you don't know, the A-10 Warthog was originally designed during the Cold War in an effort to be able to combat Russian tanks, or as I like to call them, in-a-hurry tanks. Being able to take out a tank with a fucking plane isn't that big of an accomplishment. But it's the fucking tone that the A-10 does it with that makes it so goddamn American. Does it do it with missiles? No. Does it do it with bombs? No. It does it with a gun so fucking big that they don't even call the pilot a pilot. His official name is the stick operator. Because to be a pilot, you have to be flying a plane. And this isn't a plane, it's a fucking gun with wings. Ladies and gentlemen, the A-10 Warthog's gun, or as I like to call it, the Freedom Stick. Yeah, that's a fucking car. Officially known as the General Electric GAU-8. Yeah, this gun's made by General Electric, like the people that made your fucking fridge. Because that's just how American companies get down. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stress to you how fucking big this gun really is. That is the bullet. It is so big that in the prototype models, when they would fire the gun, it would deprive the engine of oxygen and kill the engine. So then obviously you would scrap it because this is just completely unpractical. Fuck no, this is America. We're gonna program that starter to go off right after we shoot the gun. That way the engine doesn't fucking stall out. Now ask me why the tip is blue. I'll tell you why. Because if this wasn't a big enough fuck you, they decided to make the round fucking uranium. You see, uranium's denser, therefore weighing more per square centimeter, which means it's gonna have more force on impact. You know, in case you want to take out the tank that's hiding behind another tank. Now, having a gun this big means you lose mobility. So how do you handle that? Well, that's easy. You just design it to take bullets. Well, how do you do that? You put the stick operator in a 38 millimeter thick titanium bathtub. Hold on, I'll convert it to freedom units. Carry the 2 World War win, add the Second Amendment. It's about 1.5 inches. You thought I was gonna start doing metric shit when I said centimeter earlier, didn't you? Nah. In conclusion, I don't know who designed this freedom-spitting masterpiece. I've got to assume it's a result of giving a grunt an engineering degree and a pile of cocaine, and it's fucking beautiful. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoy my content, maybe you'd like to buy me a beer about it. There's a link to my beer fund in my bio. There's also a link in my bio to my YouTube channel. This video could get taken down for whatever fucking reason. So until next time, thanks for your service.
Join large-scale battles with military vehicles. The online action game War Thunder has received a major update. Direct hit. Joining the battle are machines like the Soviet MiG-27M, American Abrams HC, the Swedish...
Okay, we talked about the ship that wouldn't sink. I think it only makes sense that now we talk about the ship that wouldn't die. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the USS Laffey. Unlike the Nevada, the Laffey is not a battleship. It is an Allen Sumner class destroyer. If you don't know much about naval vessels, destroyers are significantly smaller than battleships. For example, the Laffey is weighing in at approximately 2,200 tons. Compare that to the world's largest coral reef, battleship. The Yamato weighs in at approximately 72,000 tons. That is more than 32 times the size of the USS Laffey. And while having a bunch of armor like the Yamato or any other battleship may be helpful, it is definitely not everything. It is a well-known and historically supported fact that the American vessels in World War II had vastly superior damage control to that of the enemy. If you don't know, damage control is the ability of the crew and the vessel to put out fires and stop it from taking on more water. And in my mind, there is no better example of this than the USS Laffey. Now, the Laffey did accomplish a lot during its service, but one day in particular would define it. April 16th, 1945, at approximately 8:30 in the morning. The USS Laffey would be attacked by 30 enemy aircrafts. During the first 11 minutes of combat, the Laffey would take almost no damage and down 7 enemy planes. But on the 12th minute, the USS Laffey would be struck by a kamikaze, to which it and its crew would respond, "Is there a window open? I feel a breeze." They would immediately control that damage and continue to fight, until 5 minutes later when they were struck with a second kamikaze. Simply too angry to die, it would carry on, until 2 minutes later when it was struck with a third kamikaze, and then would almost immediately suffer a direct bomb hit, and then a fourth kamikaze, and then a second direct bomb hit, and then a fifth kamikaze, and then a sixth kamikaze, and then a third direct bomb hit, and then a fourth direct bomb hit. After 80 minutes of combat, the USS Laffey was struck with 4 direct bomb hits and 6 kamikazes. Its guns managed to shoot down 8 enemy planes, counting the 6 kamikazes, bringing the total to 14 downed enemy aircrafts. The USS Laffey would undergo some emergency repairs before sailing back to San Diego, where it would be fully restored and go on to serve in Korea and then Vietnam. After that, it would go on to join the world's second most powerful navy, America's vast network of museum ships. It currently resides at Patriots Point outside of Charleston, South Carolina. Now that we've all gotten the history lesson, the shit talking can commence. Because I can hear all the naval historians in my comment section now. Buh, America didn't have the best damage control. Buh. To which I call bullshit, and I'm going to prove you wrong right now. But first, I do have to give a shout out to the Royal Navy because they too were also damn good at it. It's probably because they're not that fond of the metric system either. They may not be rocking freedom fractions, but they are willing to measure with rocks before they'll use kilograms. Game recognized game. Anyways, to prove my point, we're going to compare the USS Laffey's performance to that of the world's biggest shitty submarine, the Yamato. Now, we established that the Yamato is approximately 32 times larger than that of the Laffy, so it should be able to take on 32 times as many aircrafts just to keep things proportional. The Laffy took on 30, so 30 times 32 gives you 960. But that never happened because it only took 400 American planes to make the Yamato dry hump the ocean floor. Yeah, I just said dry hump for a shipwreck. I know that's impossible. Just go with it. So proportionally speaking, it faced half the naval vessel to plane ratio that the Laffy did, and took an Earth sauce nap. The Laffy, on the other hand, sailed its happy ass back to San Diego, served in 2 more wars, and then became a museum. Now, surely there will be some redeeming qualities of the Yamato. I bet they took down a lot of enemy aircrafts along the way. I mean, they were being attacked by 400 planes. That's a pretty target-rich environment. Nah, they managed to shoot down 10. Counting kamikazes, the Laffy took down 14, and it only had 30 targets, not 400. So I'm going to go ahead and say, in relation to the bad guys, America definitely had superior damage control, as well as accuracy. So in conclusion, the score is still 1776-0. And if you don't like that, you can make like the Yamato and get wrecked. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to support the channel, you can go over to thefatelectrician.com, where all my links are available, including my merch store, where you can get shirts, stickers, and hoodies, all made by Bunker Branding. So until next time, Quack Bang out.
All aboard. Meet Modern Warships, a free online action game where you can control a huge ship or submarine. Send your opponent to sleep with the fishes using the most up-to-date technology.
Today we're talking about the ship that wouldn't sink. Ladies and gentlemen, the USS Nevada. Predating both World Wars, it is America's first super dreadnought, as well as the first American battleship to run on oil instead of coal, on the attack on Pearl Harbor. The USS Nevada was the first ship hit. It was subsequently the first ship to return fire and to down an enemy aircraft. It is also the only one of the 8 battleships present to successfully get underway during the attack. Despite being hit by a torpedo and 5 250-kilogram bombs, while being on fire and taking on water, the USS Nevada would still manage to rescue sailors from the water of the wreckage of the USS Arizona. It would then go on to intentionally beach itself at Hospital Point. The Nevada would get repaired and upgraded and go on to be the only ship at Pearl Harbor and D-Day. While in the European theater, they would bombard the enemy so much that they would actually wear out the barrels of their guns, at which point they would return to New York to have their ship fitted with barrels salvaged from the USS Arizona. After this, they would return to the Pacific Theater for the invasion of Okinawa, where they were attacked by 7 kamikaze bombers, one landing a direct hit. Didn't even come close to sinking it. The Nevada would remain in service until the end of World War II. And that is when things got very, very American. You see, the USS Nevada was almost 40 years old and ready for retirement. So what do you do if you're Uncle Sam? Do you turn it into a giant floating museum like all the other battleships? Nah, there's an unsinkable battleship on the planet, and if anybody's gonna sink it, it's gonna be him. Doesn't matter if it's ours, he wants a street cred. So in what I can only describe as the most violently American thing I've ever seen, we painted it neon orange and dropped a nuclear fucking bomb on it for funsies. Sorry, for research. This is what would be known as the Bikini Atoll experiments. Fun fact, this is the inspiration for the SpongeBob cartoon. You know, the guy that lives in a pineapple under the sea? Yeah, you know, he lives in Bikini Bottom, Bikini Atoll. See what they did there? I'm trying to tell you your favorite childhood cartoon is just a knockoff of Godzilla. Sorry. Anyways, here's the kicker. It didn't sink. How that's possible, I have no idea. I guess you're gonna need something more than a burning, tingling sensation to take out a ship named after the home of Las Vegas. But you just hit your own boat with a nuclear bomb and you didn't sink it. What do? Fucking double tap, hit it again. They dropped a second nuclear bomb on it. And apparently the Nevada is made out of Nokia phones because it survived. So now you've got a 28,000-ton battleship that looks like a fucking road cone and is highly contaminated with radiation. It's kind of becoming a problem. So they dispatched every available ship they had to go bombard it, including one of America's biggest battleships, the USS Iowa, shooting 16-inch shells that weigh approximately 2,000 pounds apiece. The Iowa and several other ships fired upon the Nevada for 5 days straight, and were still unable to sink it. A direct hit from an aerial torpedo would finally sink the USS Nevada, ending the story on what is arguably the toughest naval vessel of all time. And I only say arguably because of the USS Lafayette, not because of the Bismarck. Nobody cares. But it took the entire British Royal Navy to bring it down. But and even then, the crew intentionally sunk it so it wouldn't fall into enemy hands. But you know what? We sunk our own ship too. The only difference is we did it after we won. And even then, we did it with more style. Talk to me when you get 2 atomic bombs under your belt. Merch store and other links are available at thefatelectrician.com. So until next time, Quack Bang out.
With all due respect, the latest advances in technology, mankind's most effective tools remain.
Today we're talking about the most decorated American battleship of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the USS New Jersey. It is the longest serving battleship in history, serving in World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and the Persian Gulf. Unsurprisingly, the most decorated battleship of all time belongs to the best class of battleship of all time, the Iowa class, also known as Nebraska Premium. Iowa class battleships are the fastest battleships of all time, capable of traveling 33 knots, which is like 38 miles an hour if you speak freedom fractions like an adult. Or if you've got some weird decimal fetish, it's like 61 kilometers an hour. So what do you sacrifice to be the fastest battleship of all time? Absolutely nothing, because it's also the hardest hitting battleship of all time. It is equipped with 49 Oberleichen autocannons, 20 quadruple Bofors, 10 Mark 28 5-inch turrets, and its main armament of 9 Mark 7s installed on 3 turrets. These guns shoot a 16-inch, 2,700-pound HE shell. If you don't know, HE stands for High Explosive, which is American for Get F. I've been informed I'm no longer allowed to say fuck. What? Anyways, these shells are absolutely enormous. So big, in fact, that while the United States called the New Jersey the Big J, the enemies nicknamed it the Black Dragon, due to its darker gray paint job and its ability to breathe fire. And I can hear the comments section already. Buh, the Yamato had bigger guns. Buh. I didn't say the USS New Jersey had the biggest guns of all time. I said it was the hardest hitting of all time. Believe it or not, the American military doesn't really subscribe to bigger is better. We prefer accuracy by volume. While the 16-inch guns on the New Jersey are in fact smaller, they do have a much higher muzzle velocity, allowing them to have just as much, if not more damage than the 18-inch guns on the Yamato. However, because they're smaller and lighter, it allows the USS New Jersey to carry more ammunition, as well as fire it faster, meaning that it is absolutely the hardest hitting battleship of all time. And in 1969, while the Yamato was busy being a coral reef, the USS New Jersey proved it. Let's just read it together. The New Jersey showed what her 9 16-inch guns could do in 1969 when she nosed up to a small, heavily fortified island off of North Vietnam. The enemy soldiers were allowed to escape unharmed. Then the dreadnought opened fire. A newspaper headline later told the result: the New Jersey sinks an island. I need a minute to process. Please hold. It sunk a fucking island. I didn't know that was an option. And not even just like your regular ass island. This is a fortified island. And this island's been drinking its milk and it still got fucking deleted. I had no idea that you could waterboard a land mass. Poor Mother Nature's been rubbing 2 tectonic plates together for a millennia to make this island. And then you piss off Uncle Sam and Mother Unnature comes along and freedom baptizes the whole thing. You just got your ass beat so bad, you're gonna have to rename your favorite brand of butter. You're gonna be putting Oat Lakes on your toast from now on. Geneva's gonna be pulling cards out of the suggestion box like, why is this one wet? Meanwhile, these guys are back living in a Kevin Costner movie. So yeah, needless to say, the USS New Jersey packs a punch. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. My merch store and all my other links are available at thefatelectrician.com, where the Quack Bang 2.0 merchandise is now available. So until next time, thank you for your service. Quack Bang out. Stand up! We talked about the B-52, let's talk about more Fatal Bingo. This episode is brought to you by Patriot Beard Supply, where you can find my favorite beard oil, spent brass. It's like communism repellent. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about the B-2 Spirit Stealth Bomber. If you don't know what that is, it's a fancy one for the movies. It looks like a big spicy Dorito. The B-2 is capable of traveling 6,900 miles on a single tank of fuel, and if that's not enough, it's capable of refueling in the air without ever touching the ground, meaning that it can leave America, go anywhere in the world, and come back without ever having to land on foreign soil. I'm trying to tell you it's playing a giant game with the metric system as lava, and it's winning. But that's not what makes a B-2 special. What makes a B-2 special is how stealthy it is. The B-2 is made out of a graphite composite material that on a molecular level was designed to be lighter than aluminum and stronger than steel. It also absorbs most radar signals and blocks most heat signatures, meaning that this thing is borderline invisible. Which raises the question, how much money does it cost to build an aircraft from the molecule up? These things are $2 billion with a fucking B. And then they cost an additional $135,000 in maintenance for every hour they're in the air. And Uncle Sam has 21 of them. Well, had 21. We lost one in a training accident. Luckily, both pilots survived. They were able to eject out of the dick divot with cockpit. My bad. They were able to escape the cockpit via heat seat in time. I'm trying to tell you, you better be happy Uncle Sam passed on health care for all, because there's absolutely no way that your insurance is going to pay for this level of uncare. Now, all that begs the question, how much bang do you actually get for your buck? I'm going to tell you right now, once the spicy Dorito opens up those double doors, it's going to unlock the flavor of the sun real quick. You can put all your conventional warheads on 4 heads. Nuclear warheads, 8,500-pound warheads, warheads, 16 2,400-pound warheads. But what sets the B-2 apart is it specifically had its own warhead designed for it. This is the Massive Ordnance Penetrator, or MOP for short, which is appropriate because this is what Uncle Sam uses to clean in all those hard-to-reach places. The B-2 is capable of carrying 2 of these, and it is a 30,000-pound warhead, capable of penetrating through 180 feet of reinforced concrete or 120 feet of hardened rock. What I'm trying to tell you is even if you somehow saw the B-2 coming, which you wouldn't, but let's just say hypothetically, and you had the bright idea to, quick, let's go hide underneath that fucking mountain. It doesn't matter. All you've managed to do is drag an innocent mountain down with you. You and the mountain are going to get aerosolized. You're going to be reduced to nothing more than an air unfreshener scent. Baloney Mountain Breeze. After a 30,000-pound warhead, there's going to be so little of you left, even the extended car warranty people aren't going to know how to reach you. Just for reference, this warhead is that big. And I know what you're thinking. Maybe I'll get lucky and they'll miss. It doesn't work like that. It's not like the movies where they just open the hatch door and let it go. They're not just going to Elsa that shit. This thing's equipped with forehead-seeking technology. This thing is more accurate than your mom with a sandal. Right between the eyes, every time. In conclusion, ignorance is bliss, and there's not a single cock carb on the dictator. I have to quit messing that up. There's not a single dictator on Earth that can sleep well at night knowing that the B-2 exists. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. You can find my merch store as well as all my other links at thefatelectrician.com. So until next time, thanks for your service. Quack bang out.
At Gurney's, we breed for flavor by partnering with passionate gardeners, breeders, and universities. The result is...
Today we're talking about aerial diplomacy, or as the United States Air Force likes to call it, warheads on foreheads. And when it comes to delivering our healthcare in bulk, Uncle Sam calls upon one thing: the B-52 Strato Fortress, also known as the Buff, which stands for the Big Ugly Fat Fella. Sorry, I'm not allowed to swear in the first 30 seconds of my videos or I get in trouble. Anyways, back to Buffy the Forehead Slayer over here. This thing is capable of carrying 35 tons of warheads at a time, going at a top speed of 650 miles an hour for up to 8,800 miles on a single tank of fuel. And if the target is more than 4,500 miles away, it's capable of aerial refueling, meaning it can leave America, go anywhere on the planet, blow anything up at once, and then come back. A great example of this is Operation Chrome Dome from... God damn it. Who named that? Apparently the Air Force really wanted to set a tone back in the Cold War. Not only are they going to be putting warheads on foreheads, they're going to be dropping something so bright your hemisphere is going to be putting off reflections. Anyways, as you can see here, Operation Chrome Dome went from 1960 to 1968, where they basically kept B-52s in the air at all times, flying around the majority of the USA and the USC, also known as Canada. Those B-52s were equipped with nuclear warheads to engage the Soviet Union should the need arise. So yeah, we were hoping to protect Canada and their universal health care with our universal unhealth care. I feel like they should at least give us a free checkup or something. You know, on second thought, they are willing to fight grizzly bears to get us that tree-flavored Kool-Aid, so I guess we're even. Luckily, it's never come to using nuclear warheads, but even without nuclear warheads, the B-52 is a force on the battlefield. Above the battlefield? I don't know. Anyways, the Buff has been in use since 1955, and it's slotted to remain in use till after 2050. There's quite literally been fathers and sons that have flown the same exact plane. Longevity like that is due to its superior design, relative low cost compared to other bombers, and the Air Force maintainers that take an extreme amount of pride to keep these things in the air. Because at the end of the day, it might take a pilot with a college degree to fly this thing, but it takes an Air Force maintainer with a high school diploma to make this thing fly. So what does the B-52 do when it's not carrying nuclear bombs? That's easy, it's carrying a shit ton of regular bombs. Good old-fashioned bad guy to baloney missed technology. It's capable of carrying 84 500-pound bombs, and dropping them basically all at once. I'm trying to tell you, the B-52 is like the Johnny Appleseed of freedom. No, the Johnny Freedom Seed. When he comes through to plant a forest of red, white, and blue woods, not only are the bad guys going to cease to exist, but you're going to have to hire a cartographer to update the topographical maps. Because Johnny's about to add a new terrain feature known as a coitus ditch, also known as a fucking hole. In conclusion, if you're a bad guy listening in on radio transmissions and you hear B-52, they're not playing bingo, but you are about to win a free cremation. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed my content, would you like to buy me a beer about it? There's a link for that right here. There's also the link for all my merchandise, like my Warheads on Foreheads t-shirt. If you're on YouTube, that link is in the video description. So until next time, thanks for your service. Quack bang out. Today we're talking about the Marine Corps' AAV. This video shout out goes to Sergeant Moss, also known as Philip the Dental Plan Moss. He is a crew member in an AAV and he helped me write this. I've said it once and I'll say it again, the Marines are terrifying because when they show up in legitimate transformers. That's not the right kind. Talking about stuff like this. My electrician dad joke fell on its face. Shocking. Anyways, that's an Osprey. It's a helicopter that transforms into a plane in mid-flight. But today we're talking about these, the AAV. It stands for Amphibious Assault Vehicle. It's basically a boat tank. It all started started in World War II when they had Higgins boats back in the day. Remember those from Saving Private Ryan? They worked great in the European theater, but when it came time to fight in the Pacific with the Marines, a lot of the Japanese island had large coral reefs that the Higgins boats would get hung up on, so they wouldn't be able to make it to shore. So they designed the predecessor to the AAV. So how this works is a Navy ship has a bunch of AAVs on board, kind of like this. When they get 2 to 5 miles off the coastline, they just open the hatch door and the AAVs kind of yeet themselves overboard. Looks kind of like this. It's called a splash off. After the splash off, they motorboat up to the beach. It looks just like this. Then when they get to the beach, they just roll out and ta-da, you got a fucking tank. I mean, it's not technically a tank, but it is a 28-ton up-armored vehicle on tracks. It doesn't have a main cannon like a tank, but it does have an M250 cal and a Mark 19, which we established is a machine gun that shoots fucking grenades, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it a tank. It's also got a 903 cubic inch Cummins turbo diesel engine that allows it to go 45 miles an hour, or at least that's what the brochure says. According to Sergeant Moss, he's personally had him up over 50, but, and I quote, it felt like my kidneys were about to get rattled out of my asshole, end quote. Some military grade shit. Now, the main purpose of the AAV is to... Purpose, not porpoise. God damn it, hold on. The main purpose of this vehicle is to transport troops. You have a 4-man crew to operate it, and then it can carry an additional 21 grunts that are fully loaded for combat. This crew is like the J.G. Wentworth of grunts. The J.G. Gruntsworth, if you will. You know, call J.G. Gruntsworth 877 grunts now. Okay, here's the point of this that I'm trying to get through to you. They were mad that we used a shotgun because it shot a bunch of ball bearings everywhere. The Navy is gonna pull up in a giant boat and shoot a fucking tank of armored grunts at you. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it scared the holy hell out of the bad guys in the Pacific in World War II. Because they were expecting Higgins boats to get hung up on the coral reefs. But what they got instead was the LTV, which is a predecessor to the AAV, also known as the amphibian tractor. During the Battle of Tarawa, the coral reefs I mentioned earlier were a particularly hard obstacle, thought to be almost impenetrable by most. But the Marine Corps and penetration go together like communism and not food. So needless to say, the Marines hopped in their salamander tractors and made it over the reefs. The only surviving enemy officer, Kiyoshi Ota, recalled it as this. We could see the American landing crafts coming towards us like dozens of spiders gliding over the water, when one of my men exclaimed, "The gods of death have come." In conclusion, if you ever see J.G. Gruntsworth coming at you in his salamander tractor, you should probably run because you're about to get hit with a gruntmentation grenade. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. My merch and other links are available here or in the video description. Thanks for your service. Quack Bang out. Today we're talking about the most gangster battleship of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, the USS Texas, predating both world wars, being built in 1914, is commonly referred to as the last dreadnought. But it's not technically a dreadnought. It belongs to the American New York class of battleships, which were commonly referred to as super dreadnoughts, which are basically just dreadnoughts that were made in 12s. And you're never going to believe this, but they were better than all the ones made with the metric system. What made them the best? Well, they had the largest guns ever put on a boat before at that point in time. Those being the Mark I, a turret with 2 barrels capable of launching 14-inch shells that weighed nearly 1,600 pounds apiece. The USS Texas had 5 of them, 2 in the front, 3 in the back. It was like a Freedom sedan. Those guns were also aimed with ballistic calculators and analog computers, making them some of the most accurate naval guns in the world at that point. It was also equipped with 16 Mark 8s shooting 5-inch shells, and 8 Mark 10s shooting 3-inch shells. Not only did it have the best offense in its day, it had the best defense as well. It was the first ship in world history to incorporate anti-aircraft guns, as well as having a 12-inch thick hull. Yeah, an entire freedom foot of Pittsburgh steel. The only thing millimeters is going to do to that is scratch the paint. But you have the best battleship ever made at that point in time. How do you make it more intimidating? That's easy. You have to be the first American ship to ever incorporate Marines in its crew. I'm going to say that again, but slower. They let the fucking water grunts drive the biggest aquatic gun ever made. At that point in history, anyways. So World War I rolls around, and needless to say, nobody wanted to be the first to get hit with the Freedom sedan. And for that reason, the USS Texas saw almost no combat in World War I. But its actions in World War II is what made it a naval legend. By the time World War II came around, the USS Texas was nearly 3 decades old. It was no longer the most dangerous battleship in the world, with bigger, newer, faster, fancier ships like the German Bismarck, the Japanese Yamato, and the Iowa-class battleships. But its crew did have 30 years of experience, and as the old adage goes, youth and exuberance is no match for old age and treachery, which is something that the USS Texas lived up to because it is the only U.S. battleship to engage the enemy in all 5 theaters of World War II. D-Day, June 6, 1944. The USS Texas would take its position 12,000 yards off the coastline, at which point the USS Texas was tasked with bombarding the enemy fortifications. And it did just that, firing over 255 rounds in under 34 minutes. That is 408,000 pounds of ammunition. Let's put that into perspective. Your average Volvo weighs about 4,000 pounds, meaning that the Texas was shooting the enemy with about 3 spicy Volvos a minute for half an hour straight. I'm trying to tell you that the Grim Yeater over here bitch slapped the enemy's coastline with an entire car dealership in the amount of time it takes you to watch a TV show. The Grim Yeater would continue to airmail spicy Volvos to the enemy until June 11th, when it ran out of ammo. Would then sail to the rear detachment off the coast of France to pick up more ammunition, and then sail back to continue engaging the enemy. By the time it had returned to the beach at Normandy, the Allied troops had driven the enemy so far back that its guns could no longer reach. So it advanced from 12,000 yards to 3,000 yards, the closest they could possibly get without beaching the ship. It is at that point in time the USS Texas said, "Hold my beer," and flooded all of its blister tanks on the starboard side, tilting the entire boat, changing the angle of the guns, allowing them to reach further inland. They gangster leaned a 32,000-ton warship so they could continue to engage the enemy. This might be the most grunt-horrific moment in world history. Can you imagine playing the board game Battleship and whoever you're playing says, "I've sunk my own battleship, prepare to die," and then you get hit with a fucking car? Look, I know I talk about this a lot, but this is a great example of the type of shit that goes on when you hit the dock or the officer. It's not necessarily a war crime, but Geneva didn't necessarily know that shit was even a fucking option. The USS Texas would then go on to engage the Japanese Empire at Okinawa and Iwo Jima. After World War II, it would retire and start the Americans' proud tradition of having their best battleships become floating museums. Unlike all the other best battleships in the world who have a proud tradition of becoming tetanus-infested fish habitats, like the Japanese Yamato, delicately placed here by the USA, and the German Bismarck, delicately placed here by the USB, also known as Great Britain. If you don't know, the Bismarck and the Yamato are the two battleships that people like to argue are better than the Iowa-class battleships. Given the fact that all the Iowa-class battleships are floating museums that you can see anytime you'd like, and you need scuba gear to see these, it raises the question, what are they better at besides being shitty submarines? For information on the most gangster battleship of all time, you can go to battleshiptexas.org. You can donate, buy memorabilia, or even buy a piece of the ship itself to help preserve this naval legend. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We have 4 new shirt designs and sticker designs available at my website. Links for that should be in my bio or the video description, or you can go to bunkerbranding.com and look up the Fat Electrician. Until next time, thank you for your service. Quack bang out. Today we're talking about the Apache helicopter. This video is brought to you by Moose and his helicopter, the Help Wanted. And he wanted to give a shout out to the Alpha Company Archangels out of Camp Humphrey, South Korea. Like the Chinook, it is named after a Native American tribe. It is also operated by 2 men, but that is where their similarities end. Because while the Chinook may be extremely versatile, the Apache is meant for one thing and one thing only: disassembling bad guys. I like to call it Bob the Unbuilder, which is Bob spelled backwards. Now, why disassembling, you ask? Well, because this is the main gun sitting right underneath the cockpit. It is a 30mm chain gun. Now, I have no fucking idea what a millimeter is. We're gonna go with something a little bit more American. Now, as you can see here, a 30mm round is approximately 1 piece of uncooked bacon. And that gun is capable of shooting 650 bacon bullets per minute. That's not even the scary part. They can connect the gun directly to the gunner's helmet, so where he looks, the gun points. Meaning all the gunner has to do is look at you and push a button. And then the next thing you don't know, you're showing up to the morgue in a body bag with a little note pinned to the front of it that says "some assembly required." Like you're a piece of IKEA furniture. An IKEA cadaver, if you will. And that's just the gun under the cockpit. It's also capable of carrying 8 Hellfire missiles and 38 Hydra rockets. And if you really upset them, they can use anti-personnel Hydra rockets, which are just rockets filled with 2,200 nails. How does it ammo the rockets? Oh, that little dome on top of the propeller is called the Fire Control Radar. It's capable of tracking 128 moving targets at once while actively engaging 16 of them. Meaning you could be behind it and it will still be hitting you with the Freedom fireworks. Now, having a lot of firepower is great, but how tough is it? It's basically a flying fucking tank. The cab surrounding the pilot and the gunner is armored to resist up to a 23mm round. Now, I'm not a fucking scientist, but if that's a 30mm round, then a 23mm round would be approximately 19/20 fists the size of a strip of uncooked bacon. Yeah, I don't need millimeters when I got bacon bits. Okay, so it's deadly and it's tough, but that doesn't mean shit if you can't be in the right place at the right time. It's a good thing it's equipped with 2 GE T700 turboshaft engines, giving it a top speed of 192 miles an hour, 3,800 horsepower. Have any idea how many ducks that is? According to the interwebs, 1 horsepower is equivalent to 131.2 water chickens worth of energy, giving Bob the Unbuilder nearly 500,000 quack bangs worth of speed. And if that wasn't enough unhealthcare, they also gave it the ability to remote connect to a UAV drone that was flying above, giving it the ability to see the entire battlefield and shoot more Hellfire missiles from the drone. conclusion, the point I'm trying to get across to you is if you see Bob the Unbuilder overhead and you're a bad guy, you're about to become a giant 3D puzzle because you can't outrun it, you can't outgun it, and you can't hide from it. It is truly unhealth care at its finest. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoy my content, maybe like to buy a shirt about it, there's a link for that in my bio right here. If you're not on TikTok, that link is in the video description. You can also find them at bunkerbranding.com. So until next time, thank you for your service. Quack bang out. Today we're talking about the most versatile helicopter in the military. This episode is brought to you by Shinesty's Sactical Underwear. Everybody should experience bald hollow at least once. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the Chinook. Like most United States military helicopters, the Chinook is named after a Native American tribe. Invented in 1962 and mass-produced by Boeing, the Chinook is capable of carrying up to 26,000 pounds. And with two jet engines coming in at 2,200 horsepower apiece, it's capable of traveling up to 188 miles an hour. And if you don't know, compared to other helicopters, that makes the Chinook strong as shit and fast as fuck. This thing is basically a cargo plane with no wings, two whirligigs on top. It's basically half cargo plane, half helicopter. It is hands down the most redneck thing I've ever seen the United States military do. I mean, let's just face it, the Chinook is basically an airborne El Camino. It's just a hot rod with cargo space. I mean, it's even got a tailgate. Come on. I cannot stress to you enough how versatile this aircraft is. They use it for hauling cargo, they do some fancy extraction stuff where there's the little gruntleberries hanging off the bottom, and my personal favorite, they use it for troop transport. I'm trying to tell you, they fill this thing full of grunts and fly it into a battlefield. They don't even land. They just drop the hatch door and all the grunts run out without the wheels even touching the ground. And this plane is so damn big, you can fit 45 grunts on this thing. It's like the magic school bus of death. I'm trying to tell you, if you're a bad guy and you see a Chinook, Uncle Sam just shot a meat missile full of grunts at you. As far as I can tell, the only limitations this Chinook actually has are based on the size of the nuts of the pilot and or ovaries. For example, how about the time a Pennsylvania National Guardsman landed just the hatch door on the roof of a building? If you get a good pilot, the possibilities with this vehicle are endless. Not to mention, super fun. For about 50 bucks at the fair, you can go for a helicopter ride. But for a blank check to Uncle Sam, you can have Miss Frizzle over here touch down the aerial El Camino and pick up you and 44 of your other favorite grunts. The only thing you're going to hear is a double whirligigs going and the song Fortunate Son playing in your head at max volume. All the while, this guy's driving you 188 miles an hour, bobbing and weaving through ridge lines. So you're crammed in the back of this thing between two 19-year-olds that are running on caffeine and hate. Then the crew chief's gonna yell 30 seconds out, you're all gonna stand up and face the hatch door. Next thing you know, that hatch door opens, the crew chief says go, and you all sprint out. Ready to let the world know the score is 1776-0, and it's not changing anytime soon. In conclusion, if you ever see a Chinook headed your way and you're a bad guy, you should run because there's probably 45 grunts in that thing that are about to shove their foot so far up your ass. The next time you fart, all you're gonna hear is Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoy my content, maybe like buy me a beer about it, there's a link for that right here. There's also a link for all my t-shirts and stickers, as well as where to find these 1776 prescription glasses. So until next time, thank you for your service. Quack bang out.
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and video downloads. So you can watch cooking shows as you eat airplane food. Try 1 month free.
I am really excited about this one. Today we're talking about the 4 best battleships ever made. They are known as the Iowa-class battleships. The Iowa class is comprised of the USS Iowa, the USS New Jersey, the famously short-tempered USS Wisconsin, and the USS Missouri, also known as Mighty Mo, where the Japanese Empire surrendered to the United States of America, ending World War II. Weighing in at 45,000 tons, with 212,000 horsepower. Yeah, we're measuring in farm animals again. Yes, I know the metric system uses horsepower, but I'm okay with it. Because do you see the 3 big turrets on the battleship? Those are known as the Mark 7. Those 9 barrels have a maximum range of 24 miles. Not meters, not commie miles, fucking miles. And the best part, they shoot 16-inch shells. Those rounds are over 2,000 pounds apiece. Those are not Freedom Seeds. Those are fully mature red, white, and blue woods. I'm trying to tell you that when America starts lobbing the Freedom fraction-sized bullets at you, you're probably going to have a bad time. That's not even all of its firepower. It's also got 10 Mark 12s that shoot 5-inch shells. It's like a Freedom by the Foot extravaganza. And then it's got 140 anti-aircraft guns and 52 autocannons. It's also got the best radar system of any battleship ever, meaning it's more accurate with all that firepower. So when you combine all that firepower with the accuracy, and the fact that it's one of the fastest battleships ever made, capable of traveling 33 knots, which is almost 39 miles an hour if you don't speak seaman, you have the best battleship ever. Cue the comment section. Actually, the Japanese Yamada had bigger guns. It was way bigger. It was better. Yeah, it was bigger. It was also way slower. Way less accurate. So if it was daytime and the sea was calm, maybe it could take out an Iowa-class battleship. It's a good thing we have fucking 4 of them. Now, the Iowa-class battleships were so scary, the enemies intentionally avoided them. Meaning that they never really got to see a whole lot of action. I mean, the USS Wisconsin only got hit once, ever, and it was fucking pissed about it. During the Korean War, the USS Wisconsin and the USS Buck were going along the North Korean coastline. Their mission was to, quote, destroy railways, tracks, and surrounding mountains. While conducting that mission, a single North Korean artillery emplacement fired upon them, striking one time with a 152mm round, creating a 30 by 20-inch hole in the wooden deck, causing almost no damage. At which point the USS Wisconsin turned all of its guns at the artillery emplacement and fired a full broadside attack. That is so much force that it would push the 45,000-ton ship 4 feet directly sideways from the recoil. Not only did they die on that hill, the hill died too. When the smoke cleared, the USS Buck sent a single radio transmission to the USS Wisconsin that said, quote, temper, temper. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed my content and maybe like to buy me a beer about it, there's a link for that right here in my bio. If you're not watching this on TikTok, that link should be in the video description. That is also the link for all my shirts and stickers. Until next time, thank you for your service. Quack bang out. Ladies and gentlemen, the period of time between the Vietnam War and the Cold War created some of the deadliest and most awesome military equipment to ever grace the planet. Examples of this would include the commie compacting juggernaut known as the M1 Abrams tank, the indestructible Gatling cannon with wings known as the A-10 Warthog, and the scariest aircraft on the planet, the AC-130. If you don't know, AC stands for attack cargo, which means they basically just put an artillery battery in a cargo plane. But not just any cargo plane, the C-130, a plane capable of going 300 miles an hour and 1,300 miles without needing fuel. It is powered by 4 Allison engines totaling over 17,200 horsepower. Yeah, horsepower, as in 746 watts of energy. I will literally measure in farm animals before I use the metric system. Ladies and gentlemen, this all got started when a bunch of grunts took a Douglas AC-47, also known as a Spooky, knocked the windows out of it and stuck cannons out the side during Vietnam, effectively doing a drive-by with a plane. After seeing how effective this tactic was, the United States government decided to upgrade it to the C-130, add better camera systems, night vision systems, and better guns. C-130s can be equipped with miniguns, Gatling cannons, auto cannons, regular cannons, Hellfire missiles, and fucking howitzers. However, the most common is for it to have a 30mm cannon and a 105mm cannon. Yeah, I know I said millimeter. Yes, I know that's metric. So yes, we do use the metric system for ammunition. But it's just a flex because we want to beat you at your own game. Because let's face it, if America starts manufacturing ammunition in twelfths, there's going to be a lot more than 50 stars on that flag. Now, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, this plane is literally just an artillery battery that is moving at 300 miles an hour, doing death donuts around the battlefield, lobbing 50-pound shells of ammunition at the enemy. And it can continue to do that for 1,300 miles. The AC-130's been given a lot of nicknames over time, such as Puff the Magic Dragon, the Spectre, the Ghost Rider. After it destroyed over 10,000 enemy vehicles in Vietnam, it was given the name the Angel of Death. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the world's biggest unhealthcare system at its finest. These planes cost $210 million. And with the United States having over 50 of them, it's no wonder that the national debt is skyrocketing. Then again, when you have 50 AC-130s, who's really going to come to collect? You've got a better shot at getting your bike back from Devo. So in conclusion, if by some miracle you manage to put the grunts on their heels, they will call up the Air Force and summon the Angel of Death itself. At which point you will become an anonymous smudge on the screen that is about to get erased forever. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed my content, would maybe like to buy me a beer about it, there's a link for that right here. And it's also the link that you can find all my merchandise. I just added high-vis work shirts and hoodies, as well as a plain fat electrician shirt. If you're watching this somewhere else besides TikTok, that link should be in the video description. So until next time, thank you for your service. Quack bang out. Today we're talking about the F-22 Raptor. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to air superiority and dogfighting, this is the best fighter jet on the planet. Its radar can detect any enemy aircraft within 156 nautical miles of it, in any direction, while also being able to jam enemy radar. And even if it is detected by radar, it was geometrically designed to have a cross-sectional area so small that on radar it appears to be no larger than a bumblebee. Sir, there's a speck on the radar going over 2,000 miles an hour. Don't worry, it's probably just a bumblebee. Okay, fine, it doesn't actually go 2,000 miles an hour. It's got a super cruising speed of Mach 1.8 and a top speed of Mach 2.25. 2.25. Gross. Try it again. It's got a top speed of Mach 2.25. Freedom fractions make everything so much better. The metric system is way easier to use and it's way better. I'll give you easier to use, but that's probably why your country's never been to the moon, because you took the easy way out. And it's definitely not better. And I know that for a fact because, well, the metric system doesn't have any F-22s. Yeah, this fighter jet is so awesome, the American government made an actual law that we are not allowed to sell the F-22 to any other countries, even allies. I'm gonna say that again, but slower. Capitalist America won't sell this to its friends to turn a profit. I'm trying to tell you, this thing is ridiculously ahead of its peers. How ahead? Thank you so much for asking. Once upon a time in 2013, an MQ-1 Predator drone was being escorted by two F-22s really close to Iran. Like the country, not the verb. I'm too fat for that shit. But the F-22s were so stealthy that the Iranians couldn't actually see them on radar, so they thought the drone was alone. So they would actually send up two of their own F-4 Phantoms to intercept the drone. And while attempting to do that, the two F-22 pilots would pull up behind them completely unnoticed. So then one of the pilots would fly underneath the F-4 Phantom and visually look at what he had for weaponry. Being thoroughly unimpressed, he would then fucking power slide like it was Mario Kart and go from underneath him to directly on his left-hand side, subsequently scaring the holy shit out of the Iranian pilot. And then while making direct eye contact, he would radio the Iranian pilot and said, quote, "You should go home now." The amount of disrespect in that statement. Just fucking, you should quit while you're behind. Which is exactly what they did. They really didn't have a choice because this plane is so good at air-to-air combat that it is a 40-to-1 kill ratio in simulations against the American F-15. To put that into perspective, the F-15 is also significantly better than the F-4 Phantoms that the Iranians were in. Look, I'm trying to tell you, this is some of the best unhealth care money can buy. And when I say money, I mean a lot of fucking money. If you take into account the research and development, these planes cost $350 million a piece. And Uncle Sam has 195 of them. That's $68.25 billion with a fucking B. This is the part where you're like, oh wow, that is a lot of money. No, that is a fuck ton of money. To put that into perspective, there's 329.5 million Americans from the ages of 0 to whatever the fuck. Divide $68.25 billion by the US population, and every American, even the babies, have paid $207 towards this fleet of fucking planes. Fucking America, I guess. Merch store and other links are available at BattleElectrician.com.